Hey guys, this is Ed from Mission Impossible, and with me I have Wyatt, and we are doing RetroGrade. We have the 2600 games from, what do we have this time?
M Network?
M Network, which was Mattel. So they
make toys.
Yeah, they make toys, and they also made the Intellivision. So I think most of these games are actually ports from the Intellivision.
Okay.
So we got a lot to get through today, so let's get into it here.
These are terribly difficult to read.
Yeah, the font on them is pretty small.
And sideways and diagonal.
Yeah.
And, no,
so
there it is.
Just worry about the bottom one.
This is the... I can't read that. That's the Tron one, though,
yes.
Right? The Adventures of Tron. I didn't think it was a particularly great game.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a C, I think. C for... could have been better. I don't know. I didn't find myself... once you figure out what you're doing, it was fine, mostly.
But even then, even when you figure it out, you're like...
Yeah, you couldn't pick up whatever you were trying to pick up.
Yeah.
Which they're ill-defined anyway.
Yeah.
I did like that as you went on, going into the, stream, you'd launch up and then go back down. Cool visual in that way.
Right. The guy graphic was pretty cool.
Yeah, even though he was just a dude with green or purple pants, I think, instead of...
The jumping animation was really weird. It was like, you're going to jump.
It's very dramatic, but not overly useful.
Especially with those big tank things or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
It's like they're huge and you're trying to jump over them. It's like you have to time it just right.
Given everything I've interacted with Tron otherwise, this just feels like the least interesting Tron thing.
Yeah, I got a copy on this one. It was... it was all right, but it wasn't not anything special to me. And, I definitely wouldn't probably be interested in playing it again. Oh, that's a good question. Does it belong in C or does it belong in D?
No, that's a good question.
Ooh, well, for now, I'll leave it at C. Okay.
I think it had enough merit that, once you know what you're doing, it's not unfun to play overall. It's just not great.
I don't know. I think I would kind of,
Not a great deal of enjoyment.
Yeah.
What was Air Raiders? Air Raiders was the one where you're taking off the runway. Okay. Worse. That one was real annoying.
Yeah.
Because it took the manual precision of Space Shuttle to launch that stupid plane.
But it didn't have any kind of indicators. Other than the sound, it kept going higher and higher and higher. So you had to guess when you needed to pick up.
And you could do it before then even, but you could do too late, but not too early, but a little bit too early. And then it would just stop. Yeah. It wouldn't respawn you or anything. It would just restart the thing.
Yeah.
It was kind of annoying. That one actually might... No, because once you got up, I did like the graphics of the planes flying around.
It was kind of cool. They had a kind of like the Afterburner look.
It had some cool visual style.
Yeah.
I like... it was pretty responsive as far as going up and down. I didn't really like that you couldn't tell if you were close to the ground or not based on the ground, because it never got closer or further away. You just had to watch your altitude number.
Yeah.
But once you got used to that, it was fine. So I can't put it in D, but I didn't like it.
Yeah. I'm gonna just... Let's see, which do I like better? I think we played The Adventures of Tron longer.
I think so.
Because at least it was, jumping around and stuff.
Once you get it, also, like I said, there isn't no fun to be had. There's just not a great deal of it to be had. M Network is, so far, not batting great. But we are going in alphabetical order, so to a certain extent, things will go up and down all over the place. Because... Armor Ambush, I had some fun with. That was, I believe, more interesting combat in a lot of ways.
Yep.
I really liked the graphics of it. The fact that you turned when you shot was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But it could also make it so that there was at least one instance where I remember shooting you 3 times in a row without having to readjust, because I got it where I could get you at both of the extreme angles. So you just fire. So there was a little bit of strategy that added to it, but it was really simple. You were just going through the same 3 or 4 maps. It was nice that there were multiple maps. I actually quite enjoyed the multiplayer aspect of it, so it was fun. It was a fun game. The fact that you have your spare tank that you can also swap between was kind of interesting. You could do hot swaps, or if you died each map, that was your spare life, basically.
Right.
There was some cool stuff to it. I don't think I can put it an A, per se. I'll think about it, but definitely a high B.
For me, I liked the idea of taking combat to the next level. I really wanted there to be a 4-player mode. Like, the machine only had 2 joystick ports, so I don't know if they had a splitter kind of thing going on. But if you had 4-player on that game... Oh, yeah,
that would be incredible.
That would be cool.
2 versus 2?
Yeah, unfortunately, the paddles only had a button and you couldn't do up and down, because it would be cool if you could do paddle controls and move in that way, but unfortunately you really couldn't.
Not reasonable.
No. But 4-player mode would be epic, I think, in that kind of game. So that being said, though, I'm not gonna copy. I want to put it at a C. I'm gonna put it at a low B.
Okay, there you go.
That's a low B. Yours is in the high B. Mine's in a low B.
It's different.
It's different. Totally
Technically different.
Totally different.
Astroblast, though, is one I think I'm gonna put. I think I'm gonna put it in an A.
Okay.
Because I struggled deeply with the game because it is hard.
That was the paddle one. Right?
Yep, it is the paddle one. However, I like what they were doing. They give you enough lives that the fact that it's hard doesn't immediately...
That's always a weird one. When you're playing a game and it gives you 10 lives, it's like, they instead of making the game easier and stick with the standard 3 or 5 lives, they're like, we know it's hard, we're just going to give you more lives. And it's just always of a red flag in my mind.
In some ways, yes. But I enjoyed the graphics. I enjoyed that the more you did things, the more stuff was happening. Even in the games that it's, the other shoot up at space stuff games, things would change over the course of levels, but the fact that it was dependent on your score, which was going up and down, made it feel very kinetic in a lot of ways.
Sure.
And,
that was an interesting mechanic. With the score going down, that was an odd one.
So that you kind of really have to... It pushes you to want to all right, I got to get everything on the screen.
Right.
Makes you want to go really fast, and the game supported that. It was a fast game.
Oh, it starts going really fast.
Yeah.
But it's kind of this tiered approach to where it's you're doing better now. We're going to put you in this higher tier. Oh, you got shot too much. Or you can go back to the lower tier.
It gives you a breather.
The dynamic level difficulty was an interesting aspect that I haven't seen. I don't think we've seen on the 2600 at all.
Genuinely, no. That's definitely not something we've seen. So
interesting.
I'm going to give it props. I think it was a fun game. The sound was a little annoying, but overall, solid game.
I'm going to put it at a high B. I liked those mechanics to it. I do believe that the ramp up speed was too much. Mm-hmm. And, to me, it was good, but it wasn't, I didn't find that I had a lot of fun with it. I know what they were trying to do. The graphics for the asteroids or whatever you're shooting were pretty basic. That being said, it's for me, it's not a great game, but it's a pretty good. So I'm putting it at a B plus.
Yeah. Bump and Jump, I might actually put that in A as well. Bump and Jump was pretty cool as far as the driving games on the 2600 goes. It was actually fun to run around and basically demolition derby more than a race. It feels that way a lot more. It feels more like an obstacle course, and because you're destroying these other guys. They're not really trying to pass you at any point.
Not really, they're just there.
Yeah, but unlike in a lot of those games where it's a race, where they're implying it's a race, and and there's just always more people in front of you.
Right.
This one feels more like an endurance race, like you're trying to just outlive your opponents.
Yep.
It had good style. The mechanic of jumping was pretty fun. If you got it timed right, you could feel really cool, leapfrogging down the middle. Yeah. I liked it.
Solid A for me as well. I had a lot of fun doing it. It definitely gave me some Spy Hunter vibes, because the guy's trying to bump you off the road and stuff. But the idea of having to jump over the river and stuff, again, it's a very simple game.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? It worked. It was not not super complex, but I was kind of worried about the skull and crossbones. We're used to seeing that as being death,
instant death.
Yeah,
they were just tough guys.
Tougher guys,
which worked well enough.
Yeah.
So, I'll give them that. I'll give them bump and jump. They've started off with a little bit of stinkers, but like I said, they've got some solid stuff in here.
Right.
But of course, we're kind of back to the middle of the road with this next one, the Burgertime on the 2600. I'm gonna put it at B for better on every other system.
Yeah.
It worked. It did exactly what Burgertime was supposed to do for the most part. It was really, really, really slow. And the graphics were very, very limited.
Mm-hmm.
And these are things that are obviously problems throughout many Atari 2600 games. Yep. Not trying to single it out necessarily. But the slowness is what really got me. That was... It wasn't grueling, but it was right next to grueling for how slow you were having to move.
I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. I'm going to put it at higher B. I can't give it an A because of just how sluggish it was, but it did what it was supposed to do. It had the good sound. It was lacking in the graphics department. If they would have been able to do the individual parts of the burger as different graphics as opposed to yellow rectangles.
Yeah.
And like they did on the
all
bottom.
The same.
The bottom. Yeah.
They
On the
suddenly
bottom,
became food at the bottom.
Yeah. And that's part where it's like, I imagine it was a technical limitation. If they would have done that, I think it would have probably bumped up to an A. If they would have made it faster, that would have been an S. If they would have made it figure out how to make it work. Now, it could be that they just couldn't, and they said, you know what, we're out of time on this, let's just release it.
And that could be.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
But all in all, it's all right.
Mm-hmm.
It's got solid merits, but it just doesn't do what that game is capable of, I think.
Sure.
Solid enough, though. Dark Cavern, that was the maze game with a gun.
Yep.
Where the biggest complaint I have with it and the thing that's holding me back, I'm not going to give it a C, but I am going to give it a low B, because Dark Cavern had a cool concept, was kind of fun, but you never move on from that screen, seemingly.
Yeah.
And your only goal is to murder specifically one enemy, and every other enemy is just kind of an inconvenience.
Well, the one with the ammo removal, that's more than an inconvenience. That's pretty bad.
It's bad, but it's also, again, it doesn't kill you, and when you shoot it, it doesn't give you points.
Right.
The only things that give you points, meaning the only
guy with the gun.
Yeah, meaning the thing you're most incentivized to go after and ignore other things with your limited ammo. It just, I would have really loved to just have it have an in-between screen if you shoot enough of the guys and go to a slightly differently laid out maze or something.
Yeah. For me, I had a lot of fun with it. I'm going to probably put it in the B tier. The deal is it's simple. The graphics on it were really good as far as, yes, it had some flickering, but it used it well. It was kind of like some of the animations.
It made it work well enough that it wasn't distracting.
Yeah. And I think it was an intentional flickering, not just a limitation, frame rate issue. The theme is kind of weird. Dark Cavern. It didn't scream Dark Cavern to me. I mean,
screams dude with a gun in a maze. Prison escape.
I know, but Dark Cavern. It just. I think of that, and I think of the Crypts of Chaos.
Like
that, like an
fantasy
RPG style or something. Yeah.
It didn't do it for me.
That's not what it is. That's a small knock, but But otherwise, I actually had fun playing it, and that's kind of the really what it comes down to.
That really makes a
games.
difference.
Yeah.
Of course, that's the biggest thing with video games is, are you having fun?
Right.
The thing that was just lessening my fun was the feeling of infinity in this singular
you never
cavern.
leave the maze, and it's like you should be able to, once you kill all the guys, go on to the next. I mean,
Yeah, even if it's it's the illusion of progress. Even
like the thing in Lock and Chase.
you never go to a different maze really. It's
Right.
but it gets slightly harder, but it shows a level of progression. You know you're going further, even though it's not always obvious how.
Right. The fact that I thought it was cool when your ammo got low, there would another gun would eventually pop up to where you could go grab it and you fill up on your ammo. And
That was pretty cool.
And it looked like the ammo was not necessarily infinite, but really high. So you could kind of stock up on your guns.
There was some good stuff there.
Yeah.
I can't give it a C truly, but the overall game definitely worth that B. I would say it's earned it.
Yeah.
Frogs and flies. Oh man, I don't want to put this all the way at S, but because it's just not much to it.
Yeah.
But for what Frogs and Flies is, that is a solid A game.
Yes.
I don't know what is
It's because it's 2-player.
Oh man, I
That's
didn't
the thing.
I didn't grab my whiteboard. That's another game that's absolutely a mini game.
Yeah, as I was mentioning in the stream, it's the simplest game ever. But the fact that it's competitive 2-player.
It's also really polished.
Yeah.
The flies look really good.
Yes, they did an amazing job with 3 pixels.
And I mean, the frogs are, you know their arcs exactly.
Yes,
it's not hard to know what
but
you're doing.
You do have to like this timing aspect of it,
which
and
makes it have
definitely skill-based thing,
And then there's a little like firefly or whatever at the end that pulls the end.
Yeah, that was nice polish.
It was a cherry on top that made it feel like.
And the fact that the normal games like this, like if you say like Freeway or some of these other games, where it has a timer of like 2 minutes or whatever, and then like the screen does something, it's like, hey, you're running out of time, or a time limit goes down.
The sun was setting.
That was cool. That was like a super nice way of showing time is progressing. Mm-hmm. Hey, we're doing one day. We're going to go from all day long until it turns nighttime, and then you're done.
And then when it gets dark, you hop away and it pulls out the end, so you know you're done.
Yes.
It nailed it in all fashions for that.
Yes.
There's just nothing more to it. Like, so I can't push it higher, but I've got to put it in A. And I see that you agree nearly.
Oh, I definitely do. Is it an S tier? For me, I kind of feel like for a single player version, which you're just playing against the computer, it's pretty lame. The computer's just kind of almost random.
Sure.
But being a 2-player game,
it gives it that edge.
Yeah.
But it also means that if you're just a kid who's gotten this, or you're just a guy who happens to have the cartridge, it's kind of limited in its scope.
Sure. It definitely is limited in scope, which is part of the charm. Kind of like what we were talking about Freeway. Freeway is a very simple game.
Yeah.
But because it's 2-player and you're just trying to score more points than the other person, it actually is very similar. In that regard, you're just trying to get across the road. In this case, you're just trying to get more flies than the other person. But it does what it meant to do well. And that get a lot of props for that.
Oh, sure. What's this one?
International
Soccer. The only one that wasn't super challenged.
Yeah.
Of their sports games. I hated the sounds.
Yes.
It was kind of difficult to figure out who you were at times.
It didn't really have it should have had a little flash.
It was also difficult, like you couldn't just hit the button or anything if you weren't the one with the ball to switch guys. It was a soccer game.
Right.
And it had all the makings of it. It played well, but I just think that it lacked certain something to make it a special game that I'd want to go back to.
Well, for me, there are some issues, as we talked about, not knowing who you are and all that. They were okay. There were some issues there, but comparing it to the other soccer games on the system, that's one thing to consider. I think it was probably one of the better ones in that your guys were actually moving in a logical way. Yes, you theoretically aren't controlling it when you want to, but I felt like the movement and the passing and all that and being able to take the ball away was really well done.
You felt good?
It felt good, yes. There were some things that I think that they could have improved upon. Obviously, the idea of the ball bouncing off that side and coming back and ricocheting,
which was strange.
Yeah, it's like you're in a walled arena, almost like
you're playing Rocket League.
Yeah, exactly. But the movement and the passing and all that stuff was solid to me. So I'm gonna go for a B. I'm actually going to put it just under Burgertime, I think. It was a solid B game to me.
Okay.
Yes, there are things that they could have improved, but really being a soccer game, it actually was pretty fun to play.
Okay, sure.
And yes, there were some technical issues that would have been great if they could have addressed. The whole idea of it bouncing off was an easy way of not having to handle fouls and all that. I was like, okay, we got to do a corner kick. You do all that crap. And I was like, they wanted to keep it simple. But the playability of it won out for me.
Okay.
That was the big one.
Fair enough. Kool-Aid Man. This
the
one
most
was
colorful
interesting.
Game,
it was very, very colorful.
Yes.
He was fighting his nemesis, these little guys.
Who were trying to drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I assume the commercials from the 80s would give me context.
Did we ever watch the second commercial?
No. Oh well. We're not missing much.
We'll put it somewhere someday. Someone will see it eventually.
Okay.
Kool-Aid Man. I liked it. I'm gonna give it a mid B because it was simple, straightforward, but very colorful and had some fun to it. The power-ups didn't do much, but they also gave them to you very frequently, so, they weren't like... It's not like getting it's more like getting a mushroom in Mario than a star.
Yeah.
It makes you a little bit invincible, but you're already kind of invincible. You're not gonna die in this game. It's just...
The whole knocking you around the screen was kind of crazy.
It was kind of fun at times, and it was wacky. So I'm gonna give that one a mid-B. I thought Kool-Aid Man had some charm.
Yeah, it definitely had charm. One of the things that I really liked from a mechanics point of view was there's all these guys on the screen, and then 2 of them or 3 of them decide to drink some of the Kool-Aid at random times. Once you stop those guys aren't bouncing around anymore. So the amount of enemies that you have to deal with keeps reducing and reducing and reducing until you get down to none. Great use of the mechanics there. I really liked that aspect of it, to where you were talking about going to another screen and all that. Once you completed that, then it goes to another one, yada yada. It definitely gave you a sense of you're making progress in this game, and that is a huge thing, especially with games of this age. Getting visual cues on the screen wasn't easy. I mean, there's a couple different ways of doing it. One, to have a number or something. That's the easiest way.
Right.
I guess the easiest way is not having anything on the screen. You're just gonna guess. And that's the worst thing. The big thing here is that the player needs to know what's going on. Are they about to die? Are they progressing in the game? The idea of the guys keep getting thinner and thinner and thinner, it really helped to show that progression.
It enforces what you're supposed to be doing.
Exactly. It's like, oh, I'm taking care of these guys. There's less of them. Great. The animation of you bouncing around like a pinball machine was very fun. Cool. Yeah, for me, it's definitely, I'm going to put it in A. I had a lot of fun with it. Your Kool-Aid Man character, which is not a very well-developed character. He's a guy who busts through walls, which that's one negative to it. They didn't really have you busting through walls. I mean, they did in the intro, which was cool.
Yeah, but you're not doing that in the game.
Yeah, and they should have had a wall busting mode or something, but They might have it. We didn't get there. But,
Sure, but it was, for what it is, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It was charming. It was a solid game.
Yeah.
A Lock and Chase is another solid game. For the most part, I'm going to put it slightly above Dark Cavern. However, I will give it this big caveat. The placing walls mechanic is cool, but it was kind of finicky if you weren't in the spot where the game expected you to push a button.
Yep.
It would just kind of throw it somewhere seemingly at random.
Uh-huh.
And, you could only really do it up and down consistently.
Yeah.
If you're going horizontal at all, don't bother.
And the thing was...
Even if you're trying to block a guy who's coming down vertically.
Yeah, you can't. The big thing there is... I found getting surrounded while going left and right was just, it's inevitable, and you're just going to get
there was one point where all 4 of them converged on you.
It's like, wow. Yeah, so the game, it was unnecessarily hard. Now, they look like they put little indicators on there to show these are where the walls are going to go.
Yeah.
Which was nice, but really you needed a vertical option too. I felt like it was...
And I feel like that wouldn't have been terribly difficult to do.
Maybe not. The biggest problem there is that, if you had vertical, that would have been much, much cooler. I don't know, because I'm almost positive this was a arcade conversion. If they would have had that ability, that would have been a game changer.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
that would have been an A or better.
Or do they sit right next to the wall waiting for it to come down? I don't know. They might, hopefully it would go away. But
well, I mean, they changed direction in this. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I just, it was good. It was fun enough.
It had flair, but I can't say that it fully did what it was setting out to do.
That being said, we didn't play the arcade version, but it was pretty good. The fact that you do have a screen that you can go, once you get all the guys, then you went out, and went to another level.
Sure.
It had the blocked door. And that was kind of nice. It showed you that there was a door that you were supposed to go through, because then it goes away and you can go there.
Right.
And that was kind of neat.
So next up we have Masters of the Universe, The Power of He-Man.
Yep.
Which I'm going to put in D for Defender was better. That game was nothing but instant death almost all the time.
Yep.
You'd get past one ninja and then his Mortal Kombat palette swap would come out almost instantly and do the same thing. And it's really hard to avoid those bullets. I think for one thing, it's counterintuitive. I saw this happen a couple times for both of us. The bullet would be coming up and we'd be trying to get in front of it and it wouldn't do it. So you'd turn around in a fit of panic and suddenly the bullet would be elsewhere.
Uh-huh.
And so you could kind of dodge the bullet by going back and forth.
Right.
Really hard to understand. And also, there's a boomerang thing that chases you. So stopping and turning around gives that a great chance to hit you.
Yeah.
So avoiding things is hard. In a very not fun way. It's also really difficult because you have to blow a hole in the ground that the ninja then runs into.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, that's what the little missile did.
You weren't trying to hit him.
No, it wouldn't even shoot if you were right over him, seemingly. So, but then...
Not intuitive.
Not intuitive. Then if you also have to avoid something at the same time, you turn around, he's going the other way.
Right.
Because he follows the screen. It's very confusing. The graphics were pretty cool.
That's the thing. The only thing I can say about this game is the graphics were cool. The intro graphic was cool. The intro animation, that was neat.
It was super neat.
And the graphic, the sprites and stuff, that was cool.
I think it should really say something that I'm putting it in D because of that.
Yeah.
Because it just isn't reasonably playable.
It's not playable. And as we've established on these videos, is playability trumps everything. I mean, truly.
Everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fun and playability kind of go hand in hand. Actually, almost fun really kind of trumps everything. But
it's the tippy top. Yeah, of course. But
the playability, you can't have fun if it's not playable. So
You're just not going to have fun if it's not playable. And if you're not having fun, why are you playing a video game?
Exactly.
Nowadays with a lot of video games that have deeper narratives or things like that, the fun doesn't necessarily have to come exclusively from the gameplay.
Right.
And, sometimes it's like more emotional in different ways, but you're still having an experience that is meaningful.
Right.
Fun is a meaningful thing.
Right.
These games are built almost exclusively on the fun aspect.
Right.
Because of how simple.
That's about the only thing it could do.
Yeah, because of how simple they have to be.
Right.
So if it's not
They miss
fun,
that. Yeah.
So if it's fully not fun and not playable, then it's out the window.
I don't know how anyone could have played this. I mean, here's the deal. Defender is a hard game. And this is a Defender-like game.
But you can go in Defender.
Yeah.
Like, you can... If you don't want to for a minute, you can fly in Defender and catch your bear and then keep...
The deal is that guy, if you're on the bottom level, that you're instant death.
It's just
boom, dead. It's like...
And it's like, oh man, that guy really got me.
Yeah, so do we have a game that lasted more than, say, 10 seconds? 20
Maybe
seconds?
20, yeah.
It was just really bad.
It was not a great time. Yeah, the power is not his in this game.
Exactly.
I'm gonna put Space Attack.
That was the one with the guys are coming towards the center and you have to shoot or get them with your thing, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna put that in the mid-C.
Wait, which one is Space Attack versus Star Strike? Star Strike is that the
I'm trying to remember
run?
now. Yes, Star Strike is Trench Run. Space Attack is the other one. The one where you're like sending squads, kind of.
Right. Let's see.
Or was it the other way around?
Star Strike was the Trench Run.
That's what I said.
Oh yeah. Okay, we're good. Great.
All right. Awesome.
So the Space Attack
I didn't like
was.
it much.
Yeah, it was. I thought that the saving grace of the game, the interesting part of that game was the shooting aspect when you're actually doing the action. It wasn't easy.
No, by no means, especially because your cursor was your hitbox.
Yeah, so you'd have to move around.
Which was interesting because you were moving it to a spot and shooting from somewhere else, but if they hit your target, you would get hurt. It was counterintuitive in a little bit because of that, but it did look good. It was very fast paced when you were shooting. It was just really hard to figure out how to get to that part.
Yeah, exactly. The one screen, we figured out how to switch them, but it was very non-intuitive.
We were struggling.
Yes.
And eventually we just lost because we couldn't figure out how to make it initiate.
And to keep in mind, we had a kind of limited time because we're trying to kind of.
It always happens, but these are just initial impressions of games that, to be fair, in a lot of ways, thrive on their initial impressions because you're not going to have 8 hours of complex gameplay to build on it.
Right. Okay, so I got to rank.
Yeah, you got to rank.
I got to rank it. I was going to go it on your side.
I'm going to put 2.
I'm going to put it in C. I thought it was
2
kind of cool.
But that's kind of that's the big thing. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I like the graphics on the shooty part, but the other one, it was almost like if they would have really developed
the shooty part.
Yeah, why did they have that?
Why are we bothering with this other bit?
It didn't seem like there was much of a choice. It was, and keep in mind, maybe we're playing it wrong. That's very possible.
But the fact that we couldn't figure out how to play it right on a system that has one button and a joystick says a lot.
Yes.
It shouldn't be that hard to figure out a menu.
Yes.
That is up, down, left, right, and button.
Yeah, there's not that many combos. So
the other one I think is pretty much the same. Star Strike also had interesting graphics.
Looked really cool.
Seemed like it was doing something. You would randomly lose control. You weren't really sure how.
I think you were getting
took
shot.
Damage. Yeah. You were supposed to blow up the Death Star hole, but you had to do it
very much a direct ripoff from Star Wars. Yeah.
But you had to do it like a bunch of times. I guess. And then you died, and you didn't have lives. You just had to restart.
Yeah, I also felt like shooting the bad guys was didn't seem to work.
I never hit anybody.
Yeah. It was like okay, so it looks like we need to shoot the porthole thing.
And
shooting the guy, I was kind of like, oh, all right.
And I understand that it was a shadow and they were trying to do something with that.
Yeah.
But the little shape right underneath your little ship
Yeah.
did change colors when you would shoot it, and it made it feel like, wait, is this ship shooting me?
shadow,
Or it was like difficult.
Exactly.
I wasn't really sure which mass was me.
Right. Okay, so I'm gonna have to give this. Oh wow. Maybe let's go for a low B. At least there was some fun aspects to it. I really liked the graphics. The graphics were awesome. I love how it showed the thing, and the shadow and all that. I do feel like it was just a matter of just getting to the, getting the hole, to shoot the fire in the whole thing. But it didn't seem like, it's like, okay, just keep doing that over and over again. But on this one, I am giving it a little bit more props for the graphics. But it was fun for a couple minutes.
For a couple minutes, yeah.
Yep.
Next we've got...
Before you go there, I am going to play the commercial.
Press the button.
Here we go.
Okay, cool.
M Network Super Challenge Football and Super Challenge Baseball from Mattel Electronics. Video games that are so realistic, it's hard to believe you're playing an Atari.
Wow.
M Network video games. They'll have a surprising effect on your TV.
Why?
The TV is just going to leave.
It's terrifying. Why would
Electronics.
The TV is like, I'm out of here.
The TV just became sentient because of how realistic Super Challenge Baseball is.
I don't know who thought of that idea of doing it that way.
They do that in a lot of these old commercials where it's like, it's so cool, it's better than you, and it's going to leave or leave you in the dust or something.
I guess.
It's like, what? No, then. I won't buy your game that's going to make my TV leave. I paid a lot of money for that in 1980, whatever.
So first of all, we got Super Challenge Baseball.
Super Challenge Baseball, I'm going to give a low B.
Okay.
Mostly because due to technical difficulties that I cannot determine whether they were the game or us or what, it was not playing very well.
Right.
But I can't really blame it overall for that.
Yeah.
The systems that it had in place seemed solid. I can't say I had a great deal of fun, but that was more issues that I think extraneous things. So I'm going to give it a solid B. Yeah. It's a low B, but I think there's fun there. I just didn't end up getting to have it.
I'm gonna go for a solider B.
A midder B.
A midder B. I thought it definitely gave me similar vibes to some of the other baseball games that I've played. The ability to move the different bases, you fire off, to the other baseman. It made intuitive sense. The big thing I think it was kind of a bummer was I couldn't keep running, and it's like, well, if you get an error or something, if the ball's just sitting there, I'm just gonna keep running.
Yeah, and it didn't seem like it could let you.
No, it didn't let me.
Yeah,
and that was kind of a bummer for that reason, but. Which is kind of a big deal in baseball.
It's like stealing bases,
there's
especially
no
in
doubles
baseball
or
games
triples.
Also,
there was no. The whole idea of getting a better hit, like that one I got that was an infield, basically a home run. I should have been able to get more bases out of it.
Or runs.
They just basically made base running on rails, and that was kind of a bummer. But otherwise, they actually had the systems in place.
It was solid enough in its construction, and I can appreciate it for that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not going to say the same for Super Challenge Football.
Yeah.
Which was a game in which both of us just kind of ran the ball, couldn't really figure out how to make
We ran with the quarterback. We never did pass the ball. And
not once. I pressed the button. I tried a couple times.
You can. I have done it. The deal is that the whole thing with the guys being blocked and it was automatic, they would just be sitting there locked the whole time.
And on rare occasions, one of them would
say, oh, wow, then you can throw. Because otherwise, okay, these guys are doing the thing. I'm just going to run it. And that's what it made sense to do.
And the only like thing that you could do in response was try and preempt, like figure out where the other person was going to run, because the blue guy is way slower.
Yeah. One of the things, it could have been an issue where there could be something in the manual, but some of the things is like not being able to choose a play. Like, how do you do a field goal or a punt or whatever? It's just
one of those things where there isn't a notable place where you're able to do that input.
Sure.
Like, it's pretty obvious in a lot of the other football games that we've played where you put those inputs that they show you.
Like
and I was trying to do...
The original Atari football had that. It was a little weird because it was like, you have to look at the manual. Up is this, left or right.
Yeah.
And then the button was punt, which we kept doing. I guess it was like, well, hit the button.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay. Again, it could very well be in the manual. We just missed it.
I was trying those different combinations of things, and nothing was changing. Is the big thing.
The thing is, on starting a play, you had to go around and like touch all the
slap everybody on the butt and give them a high five.
I guess I don't know.
Then you go home.
But both teams had to do that in order
for it to run,
start, which was so weird. As I was saying in the stream, it's like it's almost like someone watched a football game and well, this is what you do.
They move up and down, and then they start.
And maybe that was how you choose your play.
Right, but it was I was trying to do stuff at each different guy, and it never changed anything. Okay. Again, I was if it is, it doesn't work very well.
Right,
I think is part of the problem.
Yeah. So, and plus you'd be able to see what the other person's doing.
Yeah. A little bit. Like I know where he's at.
Yeah.
I see you whisper into that guy.
Yeah. There you go. So I did not have as much fun with football. I mean, it was kind of cool. They did do the scrolling thing, which they did well on that. Let me go for a high C. And it was, I like some aspects. The graphics were great. They were solid there. I think it was just missing some aspects that would have actually made it playable. It was playable. Would have made it actually fun. Yeah. Because not being able to choose plays.
Playable, not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's more guys on the team than just the quarterback and the other guy.
Yeah.
The quarterback equivalent
You're
on the defense.
You're not dealing with anybody.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Right.
But we're down to our last game.
Yes.
The other Tron game, Deadly Discs.
Yes.
That one, I'm just gonna do it. Tron Deadly Discs was a lot of fun.
Yes.
It was simple and it didn't have multiple screens, but it felt very in-depth nonetheless. The fact that you could throw the disc and then have it retract to you before it hits the wall.
That was cool. That was a game changer.
You could like plan things out a little better, or if you wanted to, you could aim it, hit two guys, hit your target, because you have to change the colors on the little gateways or whatever.
Yeah.
It felt it. Oh man, I just wanted to keep playing.
I want to say that if you get all of the colors changed, you can walk through it. I want to say that, and we didn't get there, but that you might be able to get out of the level by getting.
And that seemed possible. It felt
more time.
But it really felt like even if that wasn't the case, I wanted to keep playing that game.
Yes.
So
I really liked the indicator showing you live.
Yeah.
That was really good.
The color of your guy.
You just changed to warmer and warmer colors. Like, oh, you're red now. And it did look like that as you get more points or whatever.
You could regain health.
Yeah. And that was really, really well done.
It was primo. This is a game.
Solid S for me.
And that, I think, is the biggest surprise here. Because I'm looking at this.
Uh-huh.
And this is a matchup that rivals some of the previous companies that we've seen. Yes. And I've heard nothing from Atari 2600 people other than M Network is meh.
Right. That's probably mostly for me, so I probably skewed it a bit.
Sure, there's definitely some of that. But you understand what I'm saying. You didn't get that out of nowhere.
Right.
It's just M Network has even
my
in our stream.
personal opinion. So
even in our stream before we did the M Network stream, people were talking about M Network not necessarily in always the most oh yeah, you're gonna have a lot of fun. It was like, oh, wait till M Network for something. No one was pulling for M Network. I guess
Jeremiah was probably pulling for him, but I think he's pulling for every single
I'm okay with that, and I like that he's here.
Yes,
but you understand.
Yes,
looking at this is like, okay. These are solid. They were a solid enough company.
Yes.
They had talent here, and they were using it.
Right.
Maybe not all the time, maybe not to the fullest
We've
extent.
seen that in a lot of other companies though too. I mean, Atari especially.
Oh, hell.
I mean, we had a lot. I mean, we had a whole other tier for Atari.
Yeah.
So,
To be honest, I thought about that, bringing it back for that guy, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, it gets some props for the graphics.
It does.
That was the thing.
We'll keep away basic math so that I don't have to try and add it in.
No, we're not going to do that.
But M Network, all in all, Mattel did all right for themselves on the 2600.
Yeah.
I will have to, eventually play some Intellivision games to see if they brought it there at all.
Right.
But this had merit, and I think that is good. I'm glad to have played these games.
Yeah, I for me there were some surprises because I didn't have hardly any of these. I know I had a couple of them. But it was always, for me, to be honest, I know it sounds weird, but to kind of judge a book by its cover, the cartridges were ugly.
Right.
And they were bigger than the other cartridges because they were odd shaped because they had the little adapter on it. And so they don't stack right, and they didn't have any art on them. They just had an end label.
Just the label.
Yeah, and it was just very phoned in on the packaging, and obviously it was because Intellivision or Mattel with the Intellivision cartridges, I think they had backlogs. They're like, let's make an adapter to be able to use these cartridge cases that we made billions of because we thought they were going to sell. That's my opinion. I don't know how true it is, but
one way or the other,
probably it's true. It was sort of like, so it was almost like the redheaded stepchild kind of thing of kind of going, oh, and then network game for me personally.
Right.
And that, but truly there were, I think, some surprises here for me. The Deadly Disc was definitely a big one.
That was a great game.
Yeah. So I know I had played a couple of these, but for the most part, they were kind of And so it was nice to be pleasantly surprised with some of these.
Yeah, it's good to have that with some of these companies. Is just pleasant surprises.
Yeah, so I don't think we had an S tier on the last one.
We didn't. And
that one, it's a spoiler alert. I guess that's good.
If you're watching these videos out of order,
sorry. Yeah, I guess that's not a spoiler alert. So watch the previous one before then.
Yeah. Rewind a couple of seconds. As soon as you start talking about Coleco,
you're supposed to watch these in order.
Think about, did I watch Coleco? Go back, rewatch Coleco all the way. Make sure you get the full extent.
Was Coleco the last one? Or was Parker Brothers?
Might have been Parker Brothers.
No, I think it was Coleco. I lose track of them. Sorry. Anyway,
regardless, watch them in order.
Yes.
These will all make sense. You'll see our progression. As game connoisseurs.
And we are also, the number of games during is going to just keep getting bigger and bigger because we are trying to kind of get through these without taking years to get through. So,
true. And we'll eventually, I do think we'll have to make one of these videos where we properly rank all the S tiers that we've gotten and maybe all the basic math and D tiers as well.
I don't know if I want to do that. That would be painful. That would be painful.
But will it be painful for you? Let us know in the comments.
Exactly. Another one I've thought about doing, and definitely let us know, obviously.
In the comments.
Is that it'd be kind of interesting to see the equivalent, what the game was originally on, and see
that's
the
true.
support.
Doing a comparison.
Yeah, and obviously showing the arcade versions of things is kind of unfair.
But we gotta, want to see what they're basing it on. How close did they get? Did they use the system limitations well?
Right.
Because those all make a difference.
Right.
Obviously, it's not going to be the arcade, but is it at least fun like the arcade is fun?
Right.
It's
for that we'd have to really show, I think, all of the different platforms that it came out on.
And that's really totally true. Let us know if that's something you're interested in. Seeing some comparison videos of these different titles.
I'm not sure that you could do really equivalent and do a tier list for that. I think that would just
maybe not, but we could do a stream or even just a video. But let us know what you want to see for that kind of thing. But thank you for joining us on this M Network adventure.
Yes. There you go. Network.
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 Anyway.
They should have just called themselves Mattel.
Yeah, I don't know why
I think they lost branding ability by not calling themselves Mattel.
Yeah, I think they were just trying to make it like, it's like we're like
separate. Yeah, video games. I don't know if video games are cool yet.
Yeah. Well, but they had their thing on the television.
Yeah,
so.
And to be fair, they had like on the games in them the copyright Mattel for some things, but M Network. I didn't know that was Mattel for a long time.
Yeah, same. I didn't know it was Mattel for a long time.
But you know what people like? Mattel.
Yeah. Yes.
They would have absolutely, I truly believe.
They lost branding.
They lost branding.
Yes.
If you got good branding, keep it.
Yes. Put Mattel all over the thing.
Whatever.
Kind of like Coleco did. It's Coleco.
And I think it worked to their favor because we weren't overly favorable to a lot of those Coleco games.
Yeah.
But everyone remembers it fondly because it's like, oh yeah, of course, Coleco.
Yeah, exactly.
Even on the 2600, they were great because Coleco's great.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway.
So that's all we have for this week. Definitely, as per usual, leave a comment with your list. Definitely curious what you guys think, especially in the extremes. I mean, I imagine a lot of people, the middle tiers are kind of up and down.
Could be a little, up, whatever.
Really, I'd like to see what you guys think of the best and the worst ones. So we can kind of compare and contrast. But anyway, that's all we have. So see you in the next adventure. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of this kind of content, be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. I post new videos all the time and I wouldn't want you to miss any. If you'd like to see more of this series, be sure to click up here. And if you'd like to see something else, be sure to click up here.